Chosen one, you are an absolute genius in how you held yourself in this situation, and that composure is dismantling everything built against you. Legal consequences are circling, questions are forming, evidence is aligning. Justice doesn't approach quietly, it locks in. Elevation follows restraint. You walk forward. There's money involved, significant money, life insurance money, and there's a plan that involves someone not being alive anymore. Stay with me, because this is where the situation takes a turn that will make your blood run cold and your spirit burn hot at the same time. Someone took out a policy. Someone forged signatures. Someone made it look like you were involved in planning something you didn't even know existed. Someone created paperwork with your name. Someone manufactured evidence with your fingerprints all over it, metaphorically speaking. And someone did it so carefully, so methodically, that for a while it probably looked convincing. But here's the first crack in the perfect plan. The hit that was ordered never happened. The death that was planned never occurred. Whatever was set in motion fell apart before it could manifest into reality. And now all that evidence someone created, all those forged documents, all those fake signatures remain sitting there. But instead of proving your guilt, these materials are about to prove guilt elsewhere. Because someone official is looking at those documents right now. Someone with training and experience and the authority to dig deeper. And this person's interpretation isn't matching what your betrayer wanted seen. There's someone at the center of this conspiracy, an energy that's been operating in shadows, so thick you might not have even known this person existed. This person is connected to your past somehow, maybe through someone you dated, maybe through family connections, maybe through business dealings you barely remember. But this person is there, and this person has been the architect of this entire scheme. This is the one who convinced others to participate. This is the one who forged the signatures. This is the one who thought you could be framed and walked away clean. This person underestimated you in ways they're about to regret for the rest of their life. This person has their own desperation driving them, debts they can't pay, legal troubles they can't escape, a past that's catching up faster than they can run, and in their twisted logic, destroying you seemed like the perfect solution. This person looked at your life and saw someone too kind to fight back dirty, someone too trusting to see the trap until it closed, someone whose reputation was clean enough that accusations would shock people into believing them. This person studied you like prey and made their move believing you'd never see it coming. But while the plotting happened, while the forging and scheming and trap-setting continued, something else was happening. The universe was watching. Your ancestors were taking notes. Divine protection was activating around you like an invisible shield, and the very systems this person thought could be manipulated started working against them instead. Every piece of fake evidence this person created has tells that professionals can spot. Every forged signature has inconsistencies that forensic experts recognize immediately. Every attempt this person made to frame you left more proof of the framing itself. What this person perceived as cleverness was actually documentation being created. There's an investigation underway. Real investigators with real authority are looking at real evidence, and these investigators have already eliminated you as a suspect. They're not circling around you, they're surrounding you with protection. The case they're building isn't against you, it's for you. Because when they looked at all that manufactured evidence, when they examined those forged documents, when they checked the timelines and the financial transactions and the digital footprints, they saw exactly what happened. They saw an innocent person being set up by desperate criminals, and that changed everything. You're about to be contacted by someone official. It might be soon, but it's coming, and when that call comes, when that email arrives, when that person shows up at your door with credentials and a serious expression, your first instinct might be fear. Your heart might race. Your mind might spiral. But I need you to understand something crucial. That contact is your vindication walking up to introduce itself. That person isn't there to arrest you. That person is there to recruit you. They need your help to bring down the people who tried to destroy you. And you're about to discover that you have power in this situation that you never imagined. The investigators have already done their homework. They've looked into your background. They've examined your finances. They've interviewed people who know you. And everywhere they looked, they found the same thing: integrity, honesty, a clean track record, a history of treating people fairly and operating transparently. That history is your shield right now. That reputation is your armor, and it's protecting you more effectively than any lawyer could. Because when investigators see someone with your character being accused of something this dark, they immediately know that something is wrong with the accusation, not with you. Let's talk about the specific moments where your genius really showed itself. Because this wasn't just about passive survival, this was about active intelligence. Think back to when your betrayer first started testing you. Your betrayer was probing to see how much you knew. Your betrayer was asking seemingly innocent questions that were actually information-gathering missions, and you, without even consciously realizing it, gave nothing useful. You kept your cards close. You shared enough to seem normal, but withheld the details that would have helped refine the scheme against you. That wasn't luck. That was instinct protecting you. Remember when your betrayer tried to get you to sign documents? Maybe it was a business agreement. Maybe it was a loan application. Maybe it was something that seemed completely benign at the time, but something in you hesitated. Something made you pause. Maybe you said you needed to review it with someone else. Maybe you claimed you wanted your own lawyer to look at it first. Maybe you just kept forgetting to bring it back signed. Whatever excuse you used, your subconscious knew those documents were dangerous. And by not signing them, by creating delay after delay, you prevented your betrayer from having your legitimate signature available to practice forging. You blocked a crucial step in the plan without even knowing there was a plan to block. If this message aligned with your purpose, hype this video so fellow chosen ones can find their confirmation. And let's talk about the times you almost broke. The moments when you were so hurt, so angry, so betrayed that you almost lashed out, almost sent that scathing message, almost spread those rumors, almost fought fire with fire, but you didn't. And that restraint wasn't weakness, that was strategic brilliance. Because if you had retaliated, if you had descended to that level, it would have been used against you. Your reaction would have been pointed to as evidence of your instability, your aggression, your capability for harm. You were being baited. Provocation was happening to get you to do something that could be used. And you didn't take the bait. You swallowed your pride. You processed your pain privately. You refused to give ammunition. That's genius-level self-control. There's something else you did that shows how brilliant you actually are. You kept living your life. The betrayal didn't stop you from pursuing your goals. The confusion and hurt didn't paralyze you into inaction. You went to work. You maintained your routines. You showed up for your responsibilities. And in doing so, you created a public record of normalcy. Witnesses saw you functioning. Evidence was created that you weren't spiraling, or plotting, or behaving like someone with dark intentions. Your commitment to keep moving forward, despite the pain, created a protective barrier of ordinary behavior that makes the accusations against you seem absurd. Think about the psychological warfare being waged against you, the gaslighting, the times you were made to question your own perceptions and memories, the moments when you were convinced that you were overreacting, or being paranoid, or imagining things. That's a form of torture, chosen one. That's a deliberate attempt to destabilize your sense of reality, and yet you held on to your truth. Deep down, beneath all the doubt being planted, you knew what you knew. You trusted your experiences. You believed your own memories. And that core of self-trust is what kept you sane when active attempts were happening to make you think you were losing your mind. Your betrayer was counting on you to doubt yourself so much that you wouldn't trust your instincts. Confusion and second-guessing were needed, so you wouldn't notice the real danger. But you noticed anyway. You felt it anyway. And even when you couldn't articulate exactly what was wrong, you knew something was wrong. That knowing, that refusing to be talked out of your own perception, that's what kept you vigilant. That's what kept you from walking into the trap with your eyes closed. Let's examine the financial genius you displayed. Maybe you didn't give access to your accounts even when asked. Maybe you didn't co-sign on things even when pressured. Maybe you didn't invest in opportunities presented even when it was made to sound irresistible. Something in you protected your resources. Something made you keep your financial life separate and secure. And now that's saving you from being implicated in money laundering or fraud or whatever financial crimes were being set up with your name attached. There's also the matter of how you handled emergencies created for you. Because emergencies were definitely created, weren't they? Sudden crises that required your immediate help. Urgent situations where money or access or assistance was needed right away. And while you might have helped sometimes, you didn't help every time. You set boundaries. You said no when something felt too far. You protected yourself even when attempts were made to make you feel guilty for not sacrificing everything. Those boundaries you held, those limits you maintained, prevented you from becoming too entangled in schemes. Distance was kept that now looks like evidence of your non-involvement. Consider how you responded when attempts were made to turn you against other people. When someone you both knew was spoken badly about, when recruitment into negativity was attempted, when joining in judging or condemning or plotting against others was desired. You didn't fully buy in, did you? You might have listened politely, you might have nodded along to keep the peace, but you didn't internalize the hatred. You didn't adopt their enemies as your enemies. You maintained your own judgment about people. And that independence of thought is protecting you now, because when investigators talk to those other people, a pattern isn't being found of you participating in schemes or conspiracies or plots. Someone who stayed neutral is being found, someone who didn't get pulled into drama. Your genius is also evident in the questions you asked, the times you pushed back and asked for clarification, the moments when you asked why or how or what's the purpose of this. You didn't just accept everything at face value, you inquired, you sought understanding, and those questions, annoying as they might have seemed to your betrayer, slowed down the process. Manipulating you quickly became harder. Time was bought. Moments were created where you could think instead of just react. Every question you asked was a small act of resistance against control. There were also moments when you chose silence instead of oversharing, times when you could have revealed more about yourself, but chose not to. You kept certain things private, you maintained some mystery, and that privacy, that discretion, it protected information that would have been weaponized. Fishing was happening for details that could be used against you, and you, whether consciously or not, didn't give everything wanted. You held back. You kept parts of yourself sealed off from probing. That's emotional intelligence. That's protective wisdom operating through you. Think about the energy you chose not to engage with, the arguments you declined to participate in, the drama you walked away from, the provocations you ignored. Attempts were being made to get reactions out of you. You were being pushed to become defensive or aggressive or emotional in ways that could be recorded and used against you. But you didn't perform. You didn't give the show wanted. You stayed calm when chaos was desired. You stayed quiet when screaming was expected. You stayed dignified when degradation was planned. That's not just emotional maturity. That's strategic brilliance. There were probably moments when you caught small lies, little inconsistencies in stories, tiny contradictions in timelines, and you noticed. You filed those away. You didn't confront every time because you were still trying to understand the bigger picture, but you remembered, you kept a mental record, and now those small lies you noticed are proving to be parts of a much larger pattern of deception. Your attention to detail, your memory for inconsistency, that's going to be invaluable to investigators who need to establish a pattern of dishonesty. Think about the technologies you used or didn't use. Maybe you didn't give passwords even when asked. Maybe you didn't add anyone to your accounts even when it would have been convenient. Maybe you kept your phone locked. Maybe you didn't share your location constantly. Maybe you maintained some digital privacy even when it was framed as lack of trust. That digital boundary keeping is protecting you now, because your devices couldn't be accessed to plant evidence. Your accounts couldn't be used to make transactions look like you authorized them. Your simple acts of keeping your digital life private became shields against schemes. Your genius showed in how you handled apologies too. When your betrayer sensed you pulling away and tried to reel you back in with tears and promises, you might have forgiven on the surface, might have said the words your betrayer wanted, but you didn't forget. You didn't fully trust again. You stayed guarded. You remained watchful. You gave another chance, but not complete access. That discernment, that ability to forgive without becoming foolish, that's wisdom beyond measure. Consider the legal and official things you did or didn't do during this time. Maybe you consulted a lawyer about something unrelated, but mentioned this situation in passing. Maybe you documented strange occurrences in emails to yourself. Maybe you contacted authorities about something minor that now connects to the larger pattern. Maybe you filed reports or made official complaints that seemed insignificant then, but are crucial now. Your instinct to make things official, to create paper trails, to involve third parties, that instinct was protecting you by creating a record that contradicts the false narrative. Let's address the spiritual practices that kept you grounded. Maybe you prayed more during this time. Maybe you meditated. Maybe you journaled. Maybe you sought counsel from spiritual advisors or religious leaders. Whatever practices kept you connected to something bigger than yourself, these practices were anchoring you in truth. These practices were preventing you from being swept away by lies. These practices were maintaining your connection to divine protection, even when you couldn't see it operating. Your commitment to your spiritual life wasn't just personal development, it was strategic protection. Your betrayer likely tried to love-bomb you at various points. Your betrayer showered you with attention and affection and gifts and promises. Your betrayer tried to overwhelm your doubts with displays of devotion, and you might have enjoyed it in the moment, but you didn't let it erase what you knew. You didn't let the performance replace your perception. You held both realities at once, the reality of current niceness and the reality of past shadiness. You didn't let good treatment in the present make you forget bad treatment in the past. That's emotional sobriety. That's refusing to be manipulated by intermittent reinforcement. Think about the physical spaces you controlled, your home, your car, your workspace. You didn't give free access to all your environments. You maintained some territories that were yours alone, and that physical boundary keeping prevented your betrayer from planting evidence. Your betrayer couldn't access your belongings to forge things. Your betrayer couldn't stage scenes that could be used against you. Your natural desire for personal space became a protective barrier against physical manipulation of your environment. There's also the matter of how you presented yourself to the world during this time. You didn't dramatically change your appearance or behavior. You didn't suddenly start acting erratic or suspicious. You stayed consistent with who you've always been, and that consistency is your alibi. It's proof that you weren't going through the kind of transformation that precedes violent or criminal behavior. You remained recognizably yourself, steady, predictable, trustworthy. That stability in self-presentation is evidence of your innocence. Your betrayer was probably monitoring your social media, watching what you posted, seeing who you interacted with, looking for information that could be used or twisted, and you, possibly without knowing why, became more private online. You posted less personal information. You shared fewer details about your whereabouts and activities. That online discretion protected you from giving intelligence that could be used to refine the frame job. Your digital quietness was actually digital safety. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired, while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today, and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Professional investigators are really good at spotting frame jobs. These investigators have seen this pattern before. They know how guilty people behave when cornered. They recognize the signs of manufactured evidence. They understand the difference between someone who's nervous because something is being hidden and someone who's nervous because confusion exists about why questioning is even happening. And when these investigators talk to the people trying to implicate you, they saw panic, they saw desperation, they saw stories that shifted, they saw details that didn't align. But when they're about to talk to you, they're going to see something completely different. You're going to tell the truth. Simple, straightforward truth. And that truth is going to fill in gaps in the investigation that couldn't be closed without you. You witnessed things you didn't even realize were significant at the time. You heard conversations that seemed normal, but were actually planning sessions for this scheme. You noticed behaviors that confused you, but now make perfect sense in context. All of that information is stored in your mind, waiting to be accessed. And when you start sharing it with people trained to listen, you're going to be amazed at how valuable your testimony actually is. But more than that, the investigators are going to recognize something in you, a skill set you might not have known you possessed. Maybe it's your ability to remember details with unusual clarity. Maybe it's your talent for reading people and situations. Maybe it's your intuitive sense for when something doesn't add up. Whatever it is, they're going to notice it, and they're going to suggest that this might not be a one-time conversation. They might hint about ongoing work, about consulting opportunities, maybe even about employment, because people with your combination of integrity and insight are rare, and agencies that deal with complex fraud cases are always looking for people who can see through deception. There's also a specific person on the investigative side who's going to play a crucial role in your story. This person carries authority with grace. This investigator is protective but professional, and this person is going to make sure you're treated fairly through this entire process. This investigator is going to shield you from any attempts to twist your cooperation into something negative. This person is going to ensure you're compensated for your time and contribution. This investigator is part of your divine protection team, even if they don't know it themselves. Trust this person when you meet them. They're currently living in an illusion. They believe they've gotten away with it. They assume the plan worked. They might even be congratulating themselves about how clever everything was. But that illusion is about to shatter so completely that they'll never recover from the impact. The first crack will come when investigators contact them for questioning, not as witnesses, as suspects. And in that moment, when they realize their scheme has been discovered, When they understand that professionals are looking at them with suspicion, their panic is going to be visible, palpable, undeniable. They'll try to double down on the lies. They'll try pointing at you even harder. They'll insist that you're the criminal and they're innocent. But every word they speak will dig them deeper, because the investigators have already seen the evidence. The investigators have already traced the money. The investigators have already examined the signatures. The investigators have already built a timeline that proves they're lying. And the more they insist on a narrative that contradicts physical evidence, the more obvious their guilt becomes. Desperation makes people sloppy, and your betrayers are about to get very sloppy very quickly. As the investigation expands, more evidence will surface. Digital communications they thought were deleted, financial transactions they thought were hidden, witnesses they didn't know were paying attention, all of it coming together like pieces of a puzzle that reveals their complete guilt and your complete innocence. And somewhere in that process, someone in their conspiracy is going to break. Someone will make a deal to reduce their charges. Someone will decide that loyalty isn't worth prison time. Someone will tell the whole truth to save their own skin. And when that first domino falls, the rest will follow in rapid succession. They're going to face arrests, charges, court dates, the full weight of the justice system descending with intensity that will shock everyone involved. They thought they were playing a game. They're about to discover what it means to have actual law enforcement focused on taking them down. And through all of it, you'll be watching from a position of safety and vindication. You won't be in handcuffs. You won't be facing charges. You won't be the one whose life is being dismantled. You'll be the witness whose testimony helps ensure justice is served. And that role, that position, that's your power in this situation. The attempt to destroy you is about to become the catalyst for your elevation. The investigation that was supposed to implicate you is instead opening doors you never knew existed. Remember those skills the investigators noticed. That recognition is about to translate into real opportunity, real work, real payment. You might be offered consulting roles on cases that require someone with your particular perspective. You might be brought in to review evidence with fresh eyes. You might be asked to conduct interviews with people who'd be more willing to open up to someone like you. Some of you are going to discover a calling never suspected. You're going to find out you're good at this kind of work, that your mind is wired to see patterns others miss, that your intuition gives you advantages in reading people and situations, that your commitment to truth makes you invaluable in a field where deception is the norm. And you're going to have to decide, do you return to your old life once this concludes, or do you step into this new path that's opened before you? Either way, you'll be making that choice from a position of power, not victimhood. This investigation is going to extend over time. Don't expect quick resolution. There are procedures to follow, evidence to gather, witnesses to interview, legal proceedings to navigate. You might find yourself involved in this process for an extended period, but that's fine, because while this unfolds, while justice slowly but inevitably works its way through the system, you're protected, you're safe, nothing is coming to your home, nothing is threatening your peace. You're in a bubble of divine protection that can't be penetrated no matter how hard anyone tries. As this progresses, you might give depositions. You might testify in court. This can feel intimidating if you've never done it before, but remember that you're telling the truth. The truth is the easiest thing to remember, because it actually happened. You don't have to keep lies straight. You just report what you know. Speak clearly. Take your time. If you don't understand a question, ask for clarification. If you don't know an answer, say you don't know. Never guess when you're under oath. Truth is your power here. Eventually, much of this will be resolved. Cases will be closed. Sentences handed down. Your role as a witness will be complete, and you'll step into the next chapter of your life with this behind you. But you won't be the same person. You'll be stronger, wiser, more aware of human darkness, but also more confident in divine protection. You'll have proof that standing in truth matters. You'll have evidence that the universe has your back, and that knowledge will change how you move through the world forever. Some of you are scared. Your heart is racing because details are resonating in ways that make you uncomfortable. You're wondering if you're really safe. You're wondering if someone has actually been planning something terrible involving you. And the answer is yes. Someone probably has been planning something. But here's what you need to understand. The fact that you're seeing this right now, the fact that you're aware at this exact moment, that's your protection activating. That's the universe giving you a heads up. That's your spiritual radar coming online to alert you to danger before it reaches you. Your ancestors are watching over you in this. The spirits of those who came before, who fought their own battles, who faced their own betrayals, are standing with you. Their wisdom is available to you. Their strength flows through your bloodline into this present moment. You come from survivors. You come from warriors. You come from people who refuse to be broken by circumstances that would have destroyed others. That same spirit is in you. That same resilience is your birthright, and it's activating right now. There's poetry in how this ends. The person who tried to bury you gets buried by their own scheme. The trap set closes on them instead. The evidence manufactured points back to their guilt. The systems thought to be manipulatable expose the manipulation, and you stand there, clean, clear, vindicated, watching it unfold with a calm that can only come from knowing you stayed true to yourself throughout. People will ask how you did it, how you stayed composed, how you didn't break or lash out or try revenge, how you maintained dignity when every right existed to descend into chaos. Your answer is simple. You trusted. You trusted that truth would emerge. You trusted that justice would prevail. You trusted that the universe had your back. And you were right. That trust, that faith, that refusal to let someone else's darkness pull you into darkness, that's what saved you. That's what made you genius. You are a genius for how you handled this. Not because you did anything complex or strategic, but because you did something profoundly simple and infinitely difficult. You stayed in your integrity. You refused to compromise your values, even when fighting fire with fire would have been easier. You chose long-term truth over short-term revenge. You took the high road when the low road was right there beckoning. And that choice, that consistent choice to be who you are regardless of who others choose to be, that's the genius that's about to pay dividends you can't imagine. The divine is about to move in your favor in ways that will take your breath away. Doors you didn't know existed are opening. Opportunities you never considered are presenting themselves. People who can change your trajectory are noticing you, and it's happening because you passed the test. You proved you could maintain character under pressure. You demonstrated you can be trusted with bigger things because you were faithful with what you had. And now the universe is upgrading your entire reality. But understand this, the blessing coming isn't just for you. It's for everyone else who's been hurt by these people. Your willingness to cooperate, to share what you know, to help build the case, it's going to protect future victims. It's going to prevent future harm. It's going to shine light into dark places where corruption has operated unchecked. So when you step into your role, when you provide testimony and evidence, know you're not just saving yourself, you're saving others. You're part of something bigger. That's the thing about chosen ones. Your battles are never just about you. Your victories benefit the collective. Your resilience inspires others. Your refusal to be broken gives hope to people fighting their own wars. So carry yourself through this, knowing that eyes are on you, not just human eyes but spiritual eyes, watching to see how you navigate this challenge. And when you come through with grace, with head held high, with integrity intact, you become a beacon for others still in their storms. The months ahead will be intense. There will be moments of doubt, times when you question if fighting for truth is worth the energy. In those moments, come back to this. Remember what you know in your deepest self. Remember you didn't ask for this, but you're not running from it. Remember that the same power that parts seas and moves mountains is moving on your behalf right now. Remember you are protected, guided, and loved by forces that never sleep, never waver, and never fail. The genius you showed in holding yourself together through this storm is about to pay dividends beyond your wildest dreams. The composure you maintained when every reason existed to panic, the integrity you kept when it would have been easier to compromise, the trust you held when evidence seemed to contradict it, all of it was building to this moment. All of it was preparing you for what comes next. And somewhere, in a place beyond time and space, your ancestors are smiling. Because you proved you're worthy of the legacy left for you. You proved you're made of the same unbreakable material. Justice is coming, chosen one. Truth is rising. Vindication is approaching. And you, beautiful warrior of light, you're about to witness the kind of reversal that restores faith in everything good and right in this world. The spider thought you were caught in the web, but you were never the prey. You were always the one who'd walk free while others got tangled in their own creation. Welcome to your new chapter. Welcome to your elevation. Welcome to the life you prepared for simply by being yourself. The genius wasn't in having a strategy to defeat your enemies. The genius was in becoming so aligned with truth that you didn't need a strategy. The truth defended itself. The integrity spoke for itself. The character stood for itself. And you get to step into your future knowing you are exactly who you've always claimed to be. Honest, honorable, protected, blessed, and absolutely untouchable by those who operate in darkness. Stand tall, square your shoulders, lift your chin. Look this situation directly in the eye with the confidence of someone who knows being on the right side of history, the right side of justice, and the right side of divine will is certain. You didn't start this fight, but you're finishing it. You didn't create this drama, but you're emerging from it, victorious. You didn't ask for this test, but you're passing it with colors so bright, everyone watching knows something extraordinary was witnessed. Your betrayer is about to learn the hardest lesson of their life, and you're about to learn the most beautiful lesson of yours, that when you stand in truth, when you maintain integrity, when you trust the universe, when you refuse to become what hurt you, the entire cosmos conspires in your favor. The doors opening right now exist because you proved worthy. The opportunities presenting themselves are rewards for character under fire. The vindication you're experiencing is the universe confirming your way of being is right. So be it, and so it is. You are an absolute genius for how you held yourself in this situation, not because you were perfect, but because you were real, not because you never felt fear, but because you moved forward despite it, not because you had all the answers, but because you trusted the one who does. This is your moment, chosen one. This is your vindication, this is your elevation, and you are ready for everything that comes next.